Welcome to Spotlight. I'm your host, Amitha. Join us weekly as I talk to guests who will inspire us with their success stories and transformational events. In a democracy, sometimes our voices get lost. So we need community leaders who can represent us towards the much-needed change in society. Our guest today is one such inspirational role model who is using his experience and education towards the progress in society. It's my pleasure to welcome to our show Mr. Vinod Mahesan. Welcome to our show.
Thank you, Amitha. Thank you for having me here.
Well, I'm excited to find out about all you have in store for what's needed in change in our society.
Yes.
But before we go towards that, tell us a little bit more about you, your background, your education, and your journey thus far.
Yeah, my background is I'm originally from India, from a wonderful state called Kerala, but I've lived all over India, so I speak most of the languages. And
nice.
then I came to the States. I was in the States for around 5 years. Was in Hartford and in Florida. And then I decided to move to Canada. And there was a reason why I wanted to come to Canada. It was more because there are three things which I follow as part of my civic sense. One is right to life, rule of law, and equality of opportunity. So while US does provide you the first two, which is the right to life and rule of law, the equality of opportunity is missing.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because when you compare both the states, when you are growing up or when you're coming up as a citizen in a particular country, you have to take care of the wholesome needs of the citizen as a society. An equality of opportunity means that if you're born poor or born rich, you still get a level playing field, and then you get the same set of opportunities, which is something which Canada provides in terms of free healthcare and free education. I would call it free, but we all contribute towards it. But at least it gets to a level playing field that you are not, handicapped because of your circumstances, something which was beyond your control.
Well said.
So that's one of the reasons why we moved over here, and I've been in Canada for now close to 12 years. I used to work for American Express in the technology segment, and now I run my own small firm. We actually work with a little bit of what I call it as esoteric technology, digital empowerment, robotic process automation, machine learning, and closer to artificial intelligence.
Nice. So working towards, technologies of the future.
Technologies of the future, because the future is, whether you like it or not, is going to be an integrated future. Right now, you can already see where there are already 3D printing stuff. So all of this stuff could just be simply printed off. You don't need to, buy and go into the store. It's pervaded pretty much into our life. Something which you hold in your phone, now it's on your watches, it's coming into your clothes, it's coming into your shoes, it's already invaded all of your home, it's getting into appliances. So sooner or later, as they call it, the Internet of Things, it's going to be all interconnected. And that's where we all need to ensure that our society is ready for that change. Because what I find is the society is really not ready. And we need to ensure that enablement, the digital enablement, is explained, the awareness is created, as well as folks are upskilled or trained to get to that.
So you're kind of trying to bridge that gap, it sounds like it,
Yes.
where, some of us are already ahead, but we need to get the whole society involved.
That's right.
I'm going to take a step back and ask, now, as a US resident, how did you realize that your third core value would be realized in Canada? Was it hearsay? Did you have some experience before you got here? Was it easy to integrate into the workforce here coming from US?
No, so my wife came here to Canada first. So she's done her graduation out of Waterloo in maths and computer science. So she was there with me, and she never liked the States. One thing, but other than that, I saw the conditions in States, right? I actually had a personal experience when she came in. We had to go to the emergency room, and after that, because she didn't have it, I couldn't cover her with my insurance. So we got a bill of around $5,000 for a stomachache. And then which we had to really fight for 3 months to get it reduced to $3,500. It hit our credit. And what I realized is that if somebody is poor who can't afford this, it just made the barrier much higher. Other than that, my wife actually used to work for a company which used to sell discounted healthcare. So not insurance, discounted healthcare. That means you go to a doctor, the doctor will give you a 10% or 20% discount on his fees by that card. And that was running like selling like hotcakes. The business was booming. Imagine that means these are the people who can't afford regular health insurance, who have to take this. So they are just one illness away from bankruptcy. And you never want to be there.
Okay, so you had your own personal experiences that made you realize that this is a place you want to be.
Yes, and plus we have experienced this from the country I came from in India, where all healthcare is completely privatized. Today, if you want to get in anywhere, you have to first pay the fees before they will admit you. So, and then you come to a developed country and you realize that there is no much difference. And then you look at Canada and you found that Canada actually provides a better, I call it as a more of a socialist nature, but a better infrastructure, better model of, a community we do together.
Wow. Listening to you, I'm just so proud to be Canadian right now.
Me too. I am proud to be Canadian.
And we are so lucky that you're here in Canada, having, seen a lot of the rest of the world. You have decided to use your skills, your resources, your experience to make our country better. We want to find out more how. But before that, it's time for a short break. Welcome back to Spotlight. We are talking to the inspirational community leader, Mr. Vinod Mahesan. So this is great. We have you here in Canada. So now in Canada, how do you assess the needs of your community?
So when I came here to Canada, first of all, was to settle down and, have your family settled, lined on. But at the same time, I've always been nurturing something in India, which is education. Like, I'm a big proponent of education. What I am today is because of education. And what I realized that if you can educate kids in the family out of underprivileged children who can't get the right funds, exposure, you get them that education, they can not only grow themselves up, but they can now take care of the whole family. So it's just not just one person, it's the entire family you're educating in a way. So that upliftment is something I've been heavily advocating. Most of it is being done in India. Then in Canada, one of the other experiences which I had is we get a lot of folks who are migrating into Canada and they run into the same problem. They don't know where to look for a job. These are all skilled people, some are semi-skilled people, some are highly qualified people. But when they came in, they didn't get any information. They don't have how to connect, where to go, what is that exposure, what will work for me, what will not work for me, what is that extra additional steps I need to take. So one of the things which I do on my side is where a lot of people who are new immigrants, they reach out to me through various circles and friends and everything, because everybody knows that I'm the one who gives that. So they all reach out to me, and what I provide is the guidance, including which starts from reviewing their resumes, going through each of the resume, walking through, okay, these are your qualities. If you need to reword it, restructure it, present it out, and which area and segment will work for you. And then most of the places, if I know the people, I always make sure that it's presented to the right person. If I don't know the person, then I find a way to get the person in there. The whole idea is that getting them an opportunity with their skill set and trying to find what will suit them. Now, there are some who are not able to reach to the right potential, and so then they need additional skills. Example would be, I'll just give one example. A friend of mine, whom I just met, came through some reference. She basically had a very good education in Canada in fine arts, but she was working as an executive assistant. So I didn't realize. Then she said, "You know what? I've got this qualification, but I'm doing practically a dead-end job right now, very low wages." I said, "Okay, walk me through. What do you do?" She said, "This is what I do. I can design. I can draw." I said, "Okay, can you show me?" She showed, and then I said, "Okay, that's good. You got extremely good skills. Have you ever considered doing user experience design?" She said, "What is that?" Because now she has no exposure. So once she figured that, Then I gave her some material which I had access to. I said, okay, use my material, go through it. She went through 2 weeks of it, comes back to me and said, I really like this. I think I can do it. I said, okay, then there is this course, do it for 3 months. She took her time off, went 3 months, did that course. First job opportunity she gets from $18 what she was making, $30.
Wow.
Within 6 months, she graduates to Rogers for $70,000. And right now she's working for Deloitte at $80 an hour.
Wow.
In 2 years.
Wow.
So the transformation, the skill is there, the talent is there. It's just that how can you use the exposure and get it? So this is where I'm actually advocating is getting folks exposure, and a lot of it has to be done by the community, where we can actually guide and the leaders in the community who have experience and expertise can say, okay, based on that skill set, if you take this additional skills, you can be better. You can get to the next level, and you can grow and come up.
Nice.
So that's something which I actively advocate.
One thing I love about what you're saying is you're giving others the resources to empower themselves.
That's correct.
Sometimes I think people expect to be spoon-fed everything, but that's really disabling them.
That's true.
So I like your strategy where, yes, it's not one size fits all. Assess what this person's background and skills are and provide them with the resources, help them, but let them help empower themselves.
Yeah. They have to get the realization from inside that, this is what I want to do. This is how I can make better, because then they will work doubly hard and extra to get there. And what I always advise is, which is something which the community is not doing a good job, even the governments are not doing a good job, is we advertise, come to Canada, become an immigrant in Canada, we've got a great life. But what we don't do is that we don't do a skill set assessment. We do a skill set assessment saying, you might fit this occupation, that occupation. We don't give them feedback, how many jobs are there, what do you need to do to fit into this job, what are the criteria. So before even somebody comes into this country, we should be doing an awareness campaign. We should be doing the same assessment, which I just did, on them upfront, telling them this is how your future roadmap will look like. This is what you have to do. So that way we can avoid doctors and dentists who are coming here and finding that they have to now do a 3 to 5 year course, which is grueling. You can't get stuff. Like even for a dentist, getting an admission itself is harder. They might have to go to another province just to get that. And I have a lot of friends who've gone through that. We have folks who come in with an expectation that this is an amazing place where I can make tons of money. But they don't realize that without Canadian experience, getting a job itself is harder.
Yeah, they don't get that whole picture before they come.
The whole picture is not presented properly. So we need to ensure we create the awareness, the education, provide that. And then we also have a situation with law and order to where people come in and they don't realize that they have to follow a certain set of rules. So that's also the awareness which you have to provide. Then once they're here, we have to still do a additional counseling education. I know we have immigration centers, but they do a poor job at that.
And again, I think it comes down to that one size fits all. It's where you come in and say, no, it has to be individual assessment. And then when they are well informed, they can even make a better decision as to coming here.
That's true.
So that's great. So we heard about how you want to help the immigrant population. We heard about your push for education, especially in the underprivileged children. I know you also work with youth. We want to find out more. But before that, it's time for a short break. Welcome back to Spotlight. We are talking to the inspirational Mr. Vinod Mahesan. So it's great. We've been talking to you about, some of the needs of the community that you want to tackle. Tell us about how you can help the youth.
So one of the things which I am actively promoting is today we have a bit of a problem, like 2 areas, right? One is on the educational aspect. That means they are not getting the right level of education and awareness. So our education would be more on, as I said, once you come out, you get educated, you come out, you're looking for a job, a proper job. And they find that they can't get the jobs from the education they have. So that is something I'm trying to propose and, give them that additional skills, awareness that you need to do this extra. Second problem we are facing is on addiction and depression, which is kind of becoming a growing concern especially where I live right now, which is Brampton City. We have that as a big issue. And with legalization of pot, it's getting to be a situation where we have to be extremely careful. It's a very thin line, which we're going to work around with.
Yeah.
So that's something which I'm advocating, that we need to provide programs, awareness programs, and programs to alleviate mental health issues, whether it's related to addiction, depression, or other stuff. So that's something which I'm heavily advocating on.
Wow, I love it. You have so many different strategies in mind and how to materialize it at a micro level. But how do you see yourself taking this to the macro level and doing something for Canada as a whole? What is your vision?
So, as you said, it's at a macro level for Canada, and then micro level, they say you have to take one step at a time. So I'm taking the first step at a time, which is, my city where I live, which is my home, which is Brampton. So I'm running for the mayor of Brampton. Part of the reason is because there is a couple of things. As we spoke earlier, this values. We provide healthcare, we provide education, but what we are missing out is, we're missing out on food and shelter. A developed country like Canada, people actually go hungry.
It's, it's shocking, but it's true.
That's the reason we have so many food banks. Because a developed country like Canada should not have food banks. Food should be something which should be on the table, very easy to get, because that's the first need, hunger. So that poverty alleviation is one of the programs which we are pressing for, because crime, which is rising big time, that is caused by two reasons, greed and poverty. So you have to take care of one, so which is greed we can take care of with laws and so on, but poverty, it has a communal impact. We as a community need to really realize that there are hungry people in Canada, and it's not a joke, right? And we have to do. So that is something which I'm advocating big time. On the safety side, we are trying to advocate and push for, which again aligns with my right to life.
Core value.
Core value is features of whether we can provide better functional facilities for our law enforcement officers, whether we can actually create a community-oriented network. So we have Neighborhood Watch, a wonderful piece, wonderful community engagement model. I want to take it to the next level, which is the digital Neighborhood Watch. The same, because right now we all have cameras set out on our house. You integrate that into an app, connect it into a city safety network, and there you go. While you have a problem, you just ping it, it gets an alert out, and your law enforcement and the folks who are required can immediately see there is a problem, what is the quantum of the problem, how do they address that issue instantly. So that's something which I'm actively advocating for as part of the vision. Other problems which we have is, as I said, we have issues with a developed country like Canada, where we plan, but we underplan, severely underplan. Example I would give you is my son goes to school. It's supposed to be till 8th grade. By 4th grade, we have already put portables in there. And my son actually asked me, Daddy, why do you have to sit in a portable? So it was very hard for me to explain to him why you have to sit in a portable and you have to wear. And he asked me, why couldn't they build a bigger school? And even if they built a portable, why couldn't they attach it to the school so that to go to washroom, I don't have to wear a jacket, covers, everything up just to go out. So that's why sometimes when we call us developed, we are not. We are missing on a lot of things. We don't have proper transit systems. Right? We can say we have got transit, but developing countries have become a step ahead than us in terms of transit, which is sad. So these are the key issues which I'm going after. And as we also said, the final thing, which was on healthcare. Healthcare is a significantly problematic issue. A city like Brampton, which has close to unofficial 850 plus thousand population, has one hospital. So how would you manage with that? And so that's why I said we are severely bad in terms of planning. So that's something which I'm really, really advocating for and pushing for.
So we are lucky that you're thinking on a bigger level. Sometimes as individuals, we go through the problems, but don't see it on a bigger level as to how we can bring about changes. So it's great to have a community leader like you to represent all the voices, all the struggling voices. And then we all come together and work towards that macro level change. So it's great, like you are an entrepreneur in a corporate world and yet making time to assess the needs of a community to make a change in the future.
Thank you.
And it's also great, I have to add, that you do have the education and the professional experience behind you. So it's, again, not just hearsay, you know the technologies well.
Yeah, and then basically what we need to make this a participative democracy is we actually have a very low voter turnout, something which will associate with the war-torn country, around 36%. So my request to all the viewers is to make this a wonderful, vibrant democracy, please go out and vote. And check out who are your candidates, who are your trustees, who are your councillors, who is going to be your mayor. Validate and put in your vote.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us and enlightening us about the issues in the community and about your vision to bring about change.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So that was Mr. Vinod Mahesan, who has inspired us to work with our community leaders to make a better world. Well, that's a wrap for this week's show. Thank you for watching us. Continue to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and write to us at spotlight@ethnicchannels.com. Until next week, this is Amitha signing off, encouraging you to be an active participant in your community.